What's up, y'all? I'm back with a new video. It's Mr. 6'8" in the house, and I just want to sit here and talk to you about a wonderful young man whose life ended way too soon, all due to senseless gun violence. And just for those that may not know, his name is Ladarius Clardy, and I'm just gonna read just a bit of to kind of give you a little of the background of the man that he was becoming. So Ladarius Clardy, he played originally at Pine Forest High School in Pensacola, Florida, for the head coach of Jason McDonald. He led the team to a 9-4 record as a junior into the second round of the FHSAA state playoffs and returned to the second round of the FHSAA state playoffs as a senior and finished with an 8-3 mark. Holds the all-time passing record at Pine Forest High School, earned back-to-back Offensive Player of the Year awards, is a two-time All-Area recipient, recorded 2,047 passing yards as a senior with 17 touchdowns, added 605 rushing yards and 7 scores on the ground in his final high school season, tallied 1,780 yards through the air with an 18 passing touchdowns as a junior and added 664 rushing yards and 7 more rushing scores. Was a 2,000-yard passer as a freshman and added 1,000 yards on the ground and 34 total touchdowns, and was responsible for 83 touchdowns in 3 seasons and threw for nearly 6,000 yards. He is the son of Ladaron, I may be pronouncing his name wrong, Ladarian Clardy and Tracy Marshall. He has one brother, Ladarian, and plans to major in sports management. At least those were his plans before his life ended way too soon. Let us send up a quick prayer for Ladarius Clardy. Roll that beautiful bean footage. I got a story to tell. All right, so many of you all may have heard the story, but this wonderful young man, Ladarius Clardy, he would have been 19 this year. He was a quarterback, had just got a full-ride scholarship to Kennesaw State, and his life ended way too soon while returning to Pensacola, Florida. Excuse me, got my tongue words tied up there, but he was returning to Pensacola, Florida on around July the 1st to visit family, which was around the holidays of July the 4th. And upon his returning to Pensacola, Florida, he decided, as young people do, to want to catch up with old friends, want to hang out. It was initially stated that, him and his friend, who I shall keep his name anonymous due to safety reasons, but him and his friend went to I guess you would say, dice game, from what I understand, or something to that nature. It was stated that they were not a part of the dice game, supposedly, as we had come to find out, but that they did go to this place where a dice game was being held. Upon going to this dice game, what we initially knew was that he initially left the dice game at a certain time, maybe like around 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, with his good friend, who I shall keep anonymous. And upon going, headed home from the dice, from this game, he was unfortunately ambushed, what I want to call it. And a car pulled up beside him, and it was stated that 50 rounds were pretty much fired into his vehicle on the driver's side, resulting in the car crashing, going down a ravine. It was stated that they had to, pretty much, use the jaws of life, if I understand correctly, to get him out. The person in the passenger seat that was his friend survived, but was put into really critical condition. Unfortunately, Ladarius Clardy did not make it and did not survive as a result of this very senseless, as far as gun violence. Let's just call it what it is. you know. So those are kind of basically the first initial preliminary things that we knew. Then go further into it, what we began to learn as the time progressed is that things kind of started to shift. So what I am going to do right now is I am going to first pause this video, and I'm going to let you take a look at a clip of the Escambia County Police Department, which is down in Pensacola, or the Escambia County Sheriff Department, as they, posted pretty much details surrounding of what really happened with Ladarius Clardy. Take a look.
Also announced that we're looking for Kobe Jenkins Jr. We didn't announce a lot of details because we knew that we were also looking for some additional people. And today is the day we'll be able to maybe fill you in on the final piece of what I'll call that puzzle. Today we announced that we also have warrants on Timothy Donnell Knight Jr. and Terrell Jaquez Parker. Again, if you recall, we mentioned Amos Snowden and his brother, Dacarian Snowden, are already incarcerated. We are looking for Kobe Jenkins. What I'm going to tell you today is that we believe that there were actually 2 cars involved in the shooting of L.D. Clardy, and there was Clarity's car, and then there were 2 cars behind it. And the second car was the Snowden brothers and Jenkins. And the third car, we believe, was Timothy Knight and Terrell Parker. So now we have 2 cars. There were 2 volleys of gunfire. 1 volley of gunfire, a short break, and then another volley of gunfire, totaling about 50 rounds into the car that contained L.D. Clardy. So now we're able to kind of put all that together, and we maintain, though, that L.D. Clardy was not the intended target, that they thought that was someone else. Right now I can tell you that Knight and Parker contacted Jenkins, Snowden, and told them that an individual that presumably had a hit on them was at a gambling or a dice game. They laid in wait, and then whenever that vehicle left, which was the car that L.D. Clardy was in, when that vehicle left, in fact, they followed them. We know that is true. We know that car went down Fairfield and in the area of Hollywood, and we know that when they got to the intersection, both the second car containing the Snowden brothers and Jenkins fired, and then again a brief break, and then there was another hail of gunfire, and that gunfire, we believe, was from Knight and Parker in that third vehicle. So this kind of puts a wrap on exactly what took place. We always wondered why it happened, how it happened, and how that many rounds were fired during that thing. I will tell you a little bit more about Knight and Parker because we went over Jenkins just yesterday. So Timothy Knight Jr. is going to be charged. He has an active warrant for principal to first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and 1 count of attempted murder. And he is currently on probation. I don't know the details of all the probation, but it is a drug-related probation that he is on. Terrell Parker will also be charged. There's an active warrant for him for principal to first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and 1 count of attempted murder. The attempted murder counts are because Ladarius was not the only person in the car. If you recall, there was another individual in the passenger seat, and he suffered some serious injuries as well. So that's where those charges come from. Parker also has active warrants of carrying concealed weapon, possession of a weapon or ammo by a convicted felon, resisting arrest without violence, marijuana possession, not more than 20 grams, drug, equipment possession, and violation of probation. So what you got now is 5 total people that are involved in the homicide of L.D. Clardy. And again, I hope this kind of puts the final piece to the puzzle, and I will take questions if you have any. Yes, sir.
All right, so you see the clip. So the clip kind of gives you more of an idea of actually what happened versus the preliminary, rumors, gossip, people talking as far as, saying that him and his friend was at a dice game, won a bunch of money, got caught up, and next thing you know, as a result of it, they paid the price with their lives, which was completely not true. Let me also go on the record to say that this man was not involved in the streets as it pertains to Ladarius Clardy. So let's also shut down that. He was a well, smart, educated man with a bright future. Once again, he attended Kennesaw State, and he was only visiting in town to kind of visit family around the 4th of July and catch up from college. So upon this actual video, what I have just shown you, it was initially stated, as it led up to this, because there was a couple of things that happened leading up to this. One being that there was a black Ford Fusion, which I will put right there in the picture. That Ford Fusion was initially maybe around, I would say, 2 or 3 weeks after his, losing his life, was posted on social media, saying that, anybody that may have more information about, as far as, details concerning the vehicle. Basically, they found the vehicle. From my understanding, the vehicle belonged to someone else, but whoever it was that night that, they pulled up on Ladarius and his friend, I guess apparently had stolen the vehicle, or maybe was driving her around and say, hey, let me borrow the vehicle. And, they ended up, as far as pulling up on him, which was located at the intersection, because I wrote it down somewhere. I don't have it in my notes. I thought I had it, but basically this car was the car that was used, or said to be used initially, in the shooting. So that was the first thing. Then we seen, the next thing is that there was another individual by the name of Cordarius Dion Stallworth, who was wanted for only questioning, not anything else, just only for questioning. And then fast forward comes this video that I had just shown you all. And this video pretty much explains what really happened according to the people who wanted to see Ladarius no longer be here on earth, just to kind of keep it respectful. And from my understanding, just to kind of, break it down, what this video is entailing, is that what actually happened is that it was stated that the individual by the name of Timothy Darnell Knight Jr. and Terrell Taquez Parker, who were also at this, game, basically saw Ladarius and decided to notify the Snowden brothers, who you heard in the video, as well as Kobe LaShawn Jenkins. And basically they saw Ladarius there at this party with his friend. They decided to call up the Snowden brothers and say, hey, this is the person. We see this guy here who had put a hit out on you, whatever the case. And, pretty much from there, it was pretty much, okay, let's set him up, and to be taking a hit out on. So basically, what they are saying, the people that were involved in this, senseless tragedy, is that they went after Ladarius due to a contract, hit that was supposedly taken out on one of their friends, and it was a case of mistaken identity. So they're trying to say, and when I say they, I mean that the actual guys who were involved in this, horrific tragedy, is that they went after Ladarius because they thought that he was the person who had took a hit out, a contract hit out on one of their partners. And they was just basically like, well, we gonna get the hit up on you before you get the hit up on us. So they thought Ladarius was whomever. Now, it has never been stated on who this person was that they thought Ladarius was, but it was clearly a mistaken identity case if that was the story, even though I don't buy into it, because if you've seen Ladarius, as I'm going to show a picture right here, he has really distinct features, starting with his eyes that are like bluish gray. You can't just say that, oh, I thought this was so-and-so, because, and I don't want to make this sound, stereotype, whatever the case. But, it's not every day that you see a person of our complexion have these distinct features, such as bluish, grayish eyes, like we see Michael Ealy have, or I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Terrence Howard. So when you see a person of a very, complexion like my complexion, and they got, as far as distinct features like that, there's no mistake in saying, oh, I thought you were so-and-so, because there's not that many people that on earth that you're going to see like that every day in this complexion with those distinct features, such as his eyes, Ladarius' eyes. Those were a distinct feature of his. So how is it that you could have mistaken identity and said, oh, this is a person who put a hit out, but you don't even apparently know what the person looks like, because now you're saying that, oh, we clearly had the wrong person. It doesn't make sense. What it sounds to me is that you saw a well-to-do upcoming person who had the whole entire world, at his feet, could have been anything he wanted to be, was doing well for himself, was getting out of Pensacola, gonna make things happen. He was planning on wanting to, make it big in sports, take care of his family. And it seemed to me, just my opinion, that you all were jealous of him. And as a result, you decided to take a hit out on him. Maybe you thought that he was better than y'all because of the fact that, he decided to do something with his life. I don't know. But there's no way that you can sit in my face and tell me that you mistakenly targeted this man, execution style, all because you thought he was the person that put a hit out on you. Normally, when something like that happens, you would think that a person would have a picture in their pocket or a picture on their phone so they can always keep it in their memory bank. Not to just be randomly, oh, hey, by the way, let's go to a game. And at this game, I see this person across the room or whatever, and I think that this is the person that may have put a... No, that makes no sense. It sounds ridiculous. So, kudos to the Escambia County Police Department, Sheriff Department, Chip Simmons. Kudos to all of them, because they're definitely getting what they deserve. And just to kind of read to you, I'm going to post up here as well as the charges. So Timothy Darnell Knight Jr. Has been charged with an active warrant for principal first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and 1 count of attempted murder. Terrell Taquez Parker, charges are active warrant for principal first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and 1 count of attempted murder. Active warrants carrying a concealed firearm and possession of a weapon, firearm, resisting arrest, possession of illegal, whatever, they may have had on them as far as, violation of probation. Kobe LaShawn Jenkins, charges first-degree murder. DeQuavion Snowden Jr., principal first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. And Amos Snowden Jr., principal first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. So there were 5 people supposedly involved, and there was 2 cars. Initially, it was stated to be 1 car, which was the black Ford Fusion that I showed you all. However, upon further investigation, we learned that there were actually 2 cars, one in which, if my understanding, Kobe Jenkins and the Snowden brothers were in, and the other one, Knight and Parker, were in. And I guess they followed each other over to Fairfield and Hollywood, which is where the actual shooting took place that ended Ladarius's life. As you can imagine, his father is devastated. Take a look at the clip. It just broke my heart to see his father on TV, and the man is broken, and I can understand why.
It's been less than a week since Ladarius Clarity was killed. His father says he wants justice, but he knows it won't bring back his son.
We talked every morning, whether I call him or he called me, whether it was a text message or a FaceTime, just to motivate each other. Just the small things, the simple things. He was my everything. He was more than son.
Ladarius Clarity wants you to know his son, Ladarius, or LD for short.
He's a great individual, a great kid with a great personality. The sports side, it was good. A lot of people see the sports side, but Ladarius always kept an AB honor roll. Was an AB honor roll student the whole time through school, even in college.
A great kid with a bright future, taken too soon. His father's still trying to cope with the loss.
I just feel like I'm dreaming. I just still feel like I'm dreaming.
The community has been at his family's side since LD's murder. His father is selling t-shirts in his honor at his sports shop. Many who knew LD from his playing days as a kid or at Pine Forest High School stopping by Tuesday to order one.
To hear that, what happened, 18 years old, and the way it happened, that touched. That he here, man, and for the whole city, it hurt and rocked the community.
Ladarius's father says the hardest part is knowing justice may be served, but his son is never coming home.
I love you, son. And I got your back like always.
Not only that, but the investigation still continues. So as of right now, as you saw in the previous clip, Snowden and I believe it is Snowden and the Snowden brothers were arrested first. Then came Kobe Jenkins, who turned himself in. Now we have Terrell Parker and Timothy Darnell Knight, who are still wanted as far as, pretty much right now, like as of this moment. So 3 out of 5 people have been arrested. 2 are still being wanted. Charges are still active. And if you do know anything or the whereabouts of these men, please notify the Escambia County Police Department. It has been stated that if there's anyone out there who may be, as far as obstructing during an investigation, as far as with evidence, whatever the case, harboring a fugitive, whatever the case, you will be prosecuted as well because you're interfering with an investigation, rightfully so. Because let it be any of my kin folks, and I know that they had something to do with it, you best to believe I'm not about to go to jail over nobody. Okay, so let there just be that. They did mention that if you are involved with keeping these people under wraps, trying to hide them or provide hideouts, you too will be charged, and which I think is fair. I mean, you want to sit here and play stupid games, win stupid prizes. That's how it go. So that's that. And then also, I think that was pretty much it for the most part. My main thing for doing this story is that I just wanted to kind of, give an update. Unfortunately, Ladarius, it's sad that he lost his life at such an early age, but this story, when it first came out, it really hit home for me because it really showed that you can have such the perfect, what seems like almost picture perfect life, and how quickly it can be snatched away from you, all because of bad time and being in the wrong place. People don't want to see you win. And it saddens me that we are still in the 2021 talking about putting down these firearms and stuff, and as far as the whole thing of whether or not if picking up firearms is the answer to our problems, when it's not. There should be no reason why you got 2 black men, 5 black men who are now all young people born in 2000, 1998. I don't even know if they even 21 or barely hit 21. All have now lost their, pretty much right to be in the free world, all because they wanted to take the coward way out and pick up firearms. And not only that, but go and target somebody over something so senseless. It's sad. It's sad and it sickens me. And when I saw the funeral of Ladarius, which you can see, find it on social media, it just broke my heart to see his father up there in just pain and agony. Sorry, y'all, my camera cut out. But to see his father stand up there and talk about his son in the past tense, knowing that he couldn't protect his son when his son needed protecting, I can only imagine that's a bad feeling. So, let us lift up, the parents in prayer. Let us pray that they find the last 2 people, that are out there that definitely I do feel like needs to be brought to justice. If you are out there, you definitely need to turn yourself in, because you know, I'm gonna tell you right now, when you reap what you sow. My grandma always said, you reap what you sow. Rest assured, if the police don't deal with you, karma will down the road. And I know that some of y'all that may watch my channel may not believe in, you know, the higher power God upstairs, but rest assured, your day will be coming. Okay, so just turn yourself in while you can. It's not worth it. Okay, just take accountability. If you can take accountability and go and be a part of something that involve firing 50 rounds into somebody's vehicle, you can take accountability and, you know, man up and walk yourself right on into the police station and say, hey, I need to turn myself in, because what kind of life are you going to have being on the run? It's only a matter of time. And even if you think you're going to be on the run forever, rest assured, you will not sleep at night until you actually clear your conscience. So go ahead and turn yourself in. But, you know, it saddened me also when people initially, when Ladarius, you know, was first talked about all over the news outlets, you know, I was reading in the comments, and the first thing that people had to say is that, oh, he must have been in the street life. He was never in the street life. And his parents made it be known he was never in the street life. He didn't live that kind of life. Just because he was out there doing what, you know, I'm quite sure we all have done at a younger age, hanging around, probably being around wrong crowds, wrong people, bad timing, you know, just because, you know, he was doing it, it does not mean that he was a street life person. He was in college. He only came back home to visit his family and to hang out with his friends. And as a result, he lost his life. So just please, y'all keep the family lifted up in prayers. We hope that, you know, these last two people are caught. But more than anything, I'm just happy that, you know, at least I hope this brings some kind of comfort or closure to the family to know that the day in court is almost here. Until next time, my fun sizes, you all be blessed. Peace.